topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart.
Hello, and welcome to It's Your Voice, the show that hosts enriching conversations in diversity. My name is Bahia Yaxan. I'm a core alignment coach, an emotional wisdom training specialist, and a diversity educator. I'm so grateful I have this show every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to speak to different individuals from all kinds of backgrounds with all kinds of positive change solutions and perspectives. And I just want to say thanks, especially we have Thanksgiving tomorrow. Again, thinking of gratitude for W4CY, Talk 4 TV, and all the people that support this, all the listeners. And I really want to honor all the Indigenous people from all over this land in regard and respect for way under acknowledgement. I know tomorrow Thanksgiving has become meaningful to different people in different ways. And I asked a dear friend of mine, Esther Ann, if she wanted to suggest to me how I could honor Indigenous people. And she mentioned a book by Chris Newell called If You Live During the Plimoth Thanksgiving. And it's illustrated by Winona Nelson. I highly recommend it. I ordered it. I don't have it yet, but she sent me an excerpt I'm going to read. But it's part of the Scholastic series. It's incredibly informative and fact-filled with information I bet none of us learned in school if you grew up in this country. It's an amazing piece of work, beautiful. But I want to introduce my guest first, and she will be with me while I read it, the excerpt, and then we're going to go into discussion with her about this amazing nonprofit she founded called the Do Good Shop. Jenni Biggs is here with me today, and it's a perfect time also because so many people in this country and worldwide are going into super consumer mode and buying things for gifts for various reasons and various holidays. And I'm just really grateful the timing lined up for people who still want to order gifts. You can buy beautiful gifts from a shop that actually helps stop exploitation. Jenni is brilliant. She's made this amazing way for all of us to become active in helping to end exploitation, human trafficking, and modern day human slavery. So this is a super, super show tonight. Jenni, thank you so much for being here. I'm just so grateful for what you've done. And I can't wait till you have the floor, but you also really like the idea of, and I know you were very happy I was going to do the reading from this wonderful new book. And you saw a beautiful segue from acknowledging we're acknowledging historic griefs and healing with truth. And that's just a beautiful segue into what you're actually doing now in your life. So I just picked, there's so many fantastic excerpts I got to see, and I just picked one to show a belief system that was working so beautifully when colonists arrived to this land. So again, by Chris Newell, the native cultures the English encountered in America did not practice the same system of land ownership by individual people. Instead, many saw their homelands as animate life. The land and waters of native homelands are seen as a system that can be maintained to provide resources for all. Instead of individuals owning, caring for, and quote, improving a plot of land, native communities shared areas of land that naturally created all the needed resources for food, clothing, and shelter. These cultures adopted to the most successful life systems for the land they occupied, whether it was fishing, hunting, gathering, farming, or trade. In these systems, maintaining the natural balance of the land rather than making changes or, quote, improvements had a much higher value. An individual's wealth was not measured by how much currency they accumulated, but by how much they contributed to the life-giving systems that sustained their communities. So you have developed a system that's helping pull people out of exploitive communities. So
Yeah, when we talked just a little bit, I'm so moved by the reading too. I hadn't heard the reading yet until just now, but the thought that there are actually enough resources for everyone if we distribute them and if we're treating each other with kindness and justice and equity, there's enough to go around. And so the same thing, very similar, not the same, the very similar thing that happened to Indigenous people when we came to North America and kind of took over is similar to what's happening with those of us, our ancestors who came and want more. And now it's similar with shopping and with consumerism. We want more and we want it fast and we want it cheap. And there's somebody on the other end of that who is reaping the consequence, positive or negative. And oftentimes it's negative. And so similarly, we don't learn about that in our schools. You said with the book, did any of us learn what really happened? And when we read the book, we can find out, but that's not what's taught to us. And similarly with the fashion industry, with the shopping in general, for all different kinds of things, we don't know what's on the other end of it. And to learn that is actually a really healthy thing to do because it helps us to see the humanity that's on the other side of our $5 shirt or even our $50 shoes. Something's happening that makes it able to be so fast, so cheap, so disposable. And that's kind of what I'm here to talk about tonight is what happened, why I founded Do Good Shop, why we're doing this at all. What's the story behind it that even makes something like this necessary? So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for making that connection. And so what is the origin story and what happened? What motivated you? What was the catalyst?
Yes. So I actually, similar to if someone say read that book about the first Thanksgiving in Plymouth and found and was kind of shocked. Oh, wow. I maybe, I had a picture of the Pilgrims and the Indians sitting down together and having a Thanksgiving meal. That's not what this is exactly saying. And I think, so I had heard that sweatshops were a thing in the past, and I'd heard about history and the fight, the Industrial Revolution when there were fires and people were killed and working conditions were awful, but I kind of thought that was a thing of the past. And I heard a woman speaking at a women's conference about sweatshops, modern day slavery and sweatshops. And I was kind of shocked. I felt very unintelligent actually, because I was like, this is still happening. What? And I actually, quit shopping cold turkey, quit shopping for new items cold turkey. It just upset me so much. Now that's one kind of extreme example. When I talk about this, I sometimes talk at churches or women's groups or seroptimists or, to groups of people. And I say, you know what, you don't have to quit shopping cold turkey, but maybe just pick one thing. Maybe you'll change your coffee from whatever brand of coffee to a fair trade coffee. A small thing, we can all do something, and all those drops together make a wave of change that, flows through. Anyway, so I don't want people to feel guilty. Guilt doesn't actually help us to move forward in a meaningful way, but conviction and being stirred up about something does help us to move forward in a meaningful way. So maybe the meaningful way for one of you watching and listening is not quitting shopping, but that's what I did at the time. I quit shopping. I started shopping only at thrift stores. And then from there, I went on to find out that some things were being made by women who used to be in a brothel and were kidnapped into sex trafficking. And then they were rescued out, but without a safe living wage job, they were vulnerable to get right back into the cycle. And so I found a place called Elegant Tees. Actually, you can find it eleganttees.com. They sell clothing. Now, just clothing, but I started buying some of their shirts because it was made by a woman who was escaping trafficking. And so instead of just taking my money out of consumerism and putting it into thrift and stuff, I was actually, paying more for a shirt that was made by someone who escaped trafficking, but knowing that I was actually giving someone a hand up that could last. So instead of just sending them $40, and normally I'd buy my white shirt for $5, but then I thought, well, it's worth it to buy one for 40 if it means someone can get out of trafficking and stay out. And so that's how it started. I kind of got hit with this. You might be able to tell already. I'm kind of crazy. I talk a lot. I have all these crazy ideas. And so my husband and my best friend and my sister, they're all type A people. And so I tell them lots of my ideas and they're like, okay, Jenni, great idea. But this time I told them about my idea that I thought if more people knew that there were still sweatshops and there were people escaping trafficking who can't get out because they just can't make enough money in a third world country to get a place and be safe and keep their kids safe. If people knew that, they'd help. We want to shop anyway. Why not buy a purse from someone who needs a hand up, And so I told them, what if I started a place where everything was there together, kind of like a mini big box store with all the different choices for kids and men and, grown-ups and home goods and food, and just have a variety and tell them what this is about. I think they would shop. And all my type A people were like, that's a good idea. And that was like a sign right there. Cause
Yay!
I know.
Yay!
'Cause, they love me, but they're usually like, okay, nice idea. But this time they thought it was a good idea, and I was very compelled. And so that's how it started. I worked for 1 year on starting Do Good Shop and at my other job. And then when the end of that year, when we actually opened in August of 2016, I quit my job and started doing this. Well, I'm supposed to be part-time, but started doing it mostly full-time. So that's how it began.
Wow. Fantastic. And I'm so glad you have support around you because
Yes.
it's very hard to do things alone. And I love the word conviction. I love the word you said, not guilt, but conviction. And because guilt, as you said, can really get in the way and doesn't help us move forward, but conviction can.
Hmm. Well, and guilt, I have found, even with doing this now, so I don't know if you've all seen the movie Schindler's List, but there's a part in that movie where he's like, this ring could have been one more person. These glasses could have saved one more person, because he had been paying to get people out of concentration camps. And so sometimes I get like that, like, oh my goodness, I bought some underwear at Target, and I start to have the guilt part. And then I'm like, whoa, 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 don't get derailed. We're changing things slowly. We're changing. If I change it sustainably, I can actually do it. If I try and bite off more than I can chew, I'm just gonna go back to doing nothing. And so I try to encourage myself and other people that this is really just make it fun, like pick something. If you feel stirred up by the things we're talking about over the course of the show tonight, then pick something that sounds interesting and doable to you, because then it might actually stick, and people will actually get the hand up that they need.
That is excellent advice. Just like when you're changing any habit,
Right.
when you're forming a new habit, if we go too far, we just can go backslide and give up.
Right. Which we're all coming up on New Year's resolutions, and we all know how that goes. So,
Mhm.
yeah, picking something doable and actually something you kind of desire to do, you know? Yeah.
And how did you start beginning to like um, personally get to know and find w- women, children, men, and exploitation
Right.
who were being totally oppressed?
Right. So lots of the organizations that I work with today through Do Good Shop, I had found prior to starting Do Good Shop, and I had already been supporting them through shopping. I mean, it seems funny to say supporting because I'm getting something for it. You know, I'm buying a purse, I'm buying a necklace, I'm getting
Hmm.
the bedspread on my bed back there. You know, like
Hmm.
I get really nice stuff. So it's funny that it's actually supporting someone because I'm getting something. But anyway, I had already connected with many organizations because I just had that fire in me to quit shopping and only shop places that were ethical. Um, and then as I started doing it, people were coming out of the woodwork. Like the best man in our wedding, his wife, who's become a good friend of ours, her cousin runs a nonprofit in Tijuana with women in particular who've been exploited.
Mm.
And she does therapy with them, social work, and then training for job skills. And that was just, I mean, you know, almost 30 years ago we met. And then 5 years ago, she's like, oh, hey, my cousin just started this nonprofit about the same time as you. And now a few weeks ago, I went down and met a bunch of artisans through her. Um, so that kind of stuff just again and again. Has happened where I meet people they know or they've been to Kenya and they know a school there and they know that the moms make these items to earn money to send their kids to school and get uniforms. And it's been amazing actually the connections just even with people here
Mm.
that I've had the privilege of being in relationship with and now the artisans as well. So
Wow,
I actually have a picture of the artisans. They are when I talk to them, which I do sometimes. I was just messaging with one of the men in Kenya earlier today, but they are kind of shocked that Americans would want to help. You know, it's
Mm.
so interesting. They're like, "Wait, you have people who want to buy our stuff?"
Mm.
And so they there's a picture of them all holding up, "Thank you." And
Oh
this
wow.
is just one group, but I wish I could express to you the shock is too strong a word, but the like awe of thank you for helping us. Thank you for being a part of us breaking the cycle of really awful things that have gone on. And to see people fight for a different life for their kids and for themselves is really encouraging, you know? Yeah, they're doing a lot of hard work to come up out of oppression. It takes more than just a job doing artisan things. You know, it takes a lot of hard work and
Mm.
therapy and kind of group um, support. And so, anyway, so they say thank you to all of you. And when I talk to them, they constantly want me to tell everyone this is so meaningful what you're doing and it really makes a difference in my life, you know, to the different people I'm talking to. They tell me that. So I just wanted to thank you all for taking the time to watch and listen and hear what this is all about because you know we can make such a big difference in someone's life just by purchasing a bag of coffee or a purse or a shirt or a toy for our kids. I mean it's amazing the difference that we see in their lives. So thank you so much for taking the time and thanks for having me.
That's so reassuring because it like don't doubt it. Like this does make a difference.
Oh yeah.
And um and that photo for the listeners on the radio, you can come and watch the video later so you can see that beautiful photo. And you have some more photos, right?
I
Jenni?
do, yeah. The next one I have is from my recent trip. I just went down. So this is in Tijuana. there's actually hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands upon thousands, but at this site, there are hundreds and hundreds of refugees who have come from different parts of Mexico and even from other countries. But for instance, in Mexico right now, the cartel, if you have, say, a couple of avocado trees and a goat, that is wealth. And so they will come and take over your place. And you either stay and who knows what happens to you, or you flee. And so they are now stuck here near the border, can't come over the border, can't go back home. And we, for their privacy, we didn't show the pictures, but the place where everyone's staying in the church, it is packed out, maxed out. Like, no, there's a sign on the door in Spanish that says all full, we wish we could help you. And they're actually building a place next door to house more people. But in this place, if you go to the next picture, in this place, you walk through and it's just wall-to-wall cots. There is this amazing, bustling, happy community of women who are learning to sew so that they can have money to start to move out of where they are and get a place. And one of the things that Sarah, who works down there, was telling me is they really try, the social workers who are working with these refugee women really try to help them to bloom where they are right now. You can't go home, can't go across. So we're gonna just take this and make it something. And hopefully that will lead you to the next place. But so they're learning to sew and they're making amazing things. If you go on the website, we have these new banners and they're canvas banners. And then they have like not embroidered, screen printed with all are welcome here, or adventure, or brave. And they are just sewing. And, that was them. They could be sitting on their bunk just depressed, and they were, actually, they said they were, until they had something going on. So there's a couple more pictures of the women who are in the, yes, so there they are. So, and they're behind, you can see the iron back there. So they were making table runners for us, and then we pay them much more than what the going rate is in Mexico. Yeah, so that's just some of the lives that are changed. This next picture, okay, I have to tell you guys, I'm so excited. Okay, so Marisol is this wonderful woman. She, I met her a little bit ago. We do an ethical subscription box, which is also on the website if you're interested, and it comes out every 4 months. And so this picture is from the last box we just sent in October. And that little knife, the Spread Joy knife, she hand stamps jewelry for us and all kinds of different hand stamping. She also makes earrings and necklaces, but she does it at home now. She had been working in the group. She had gotten out of a hard situation, had been working with the group at like a little, it's not a rec room, but you know what I mean? They all do their jewelry work there. And she couldn't do it anymore because she has a son and a daughter and then another child on the way. And I was able to go out to dinner with her for her birthday with a couple other women this last month when I was there, and told her, she said, I want to send my son to preschool, but there's no way we could do that. And like I talked about earlier, with stuff that's been hard, you need some time to work on that. And we have that privilege and that blessing here to be able to spend some time with introspection and on ourselves. And she's just not able to do that right now. And so I was able to tell her, hey, you know what? Do Good Shop can hire you for a certain amount every single month so that you can send your son to preschool. We can commit to you to do at least $150 a month and hopefully up to $250 to help pay for gas and stuff like that, which for all of us, honestly, that's not that much, right? I mean, it is, but it's not. It's just a couple of purses or, 10 of her necklaces. And so she only needs to work about 12 hours a month to make it happen. And we can commit and do that. And she was weeping. She was so thankful. She's been sending me pictures almost every day of her son at preschool. If you go to the next picture, I think it's her family. Yes. There she is.
Oh,
So that little guy with the peace sign, that's her oldest, and then that's her baby girl, and then she's pregnant with a third little girl on the way. So anyway, she is another one of the artisans who is so grateful. I mean, tears in her eyes, unbelievably grateful for someone buying a necklace, and we do that kind of stuff all the time. It's just, to me, it seems like seamless. This is something we're already doing. We're shopping, especially right now for Christmas and Hanukkah and gift giving, holiday time, especially. And so, why not get something that also does so much for somebody else? So, yes, I get excited.
well, for good reason. And you said that, I don't know if that would be like 150 a month. You said that will definitely pay for the where she wants to send her son to school and
Mhm.
gas. And I know that also I don't know how many um, people you're able to employ equivalent of like full-time livable wage.
So we don't do this is the first time we've done like a commitment where we say no matter what, we will pay you, you will have this money, you can count on it. Normally we're working with an organization, and so then that organization is kind of undergirding the whole process, and then we're coming along and buying throughout the year
I
several
see.
orders. But I counted up. So we work with artisans, hundreds of artisans, over 400 artisans
Wow.
in almost 40 countries around the world, including the US. I'll talk about that a little bit in just a minute. But this happens here. Like some of my artisans, I live in Northern California. Some of my artisans live within 10 miles of my house and have been exploited. It's not just overseas. There's a lot going on here too. And so we are trying to replicate this idea of teaching a skill and having that be not only a source of income, but a source of pride and confidence and worthiness. Not that our worth needs to come from what we do, but we all know that when we do something we're proud of, it feels good. It feels encouraging. It changes our outlook. Yeah,
Definitely.
so we do work with many, many artisans and contribute to. We're not the only store working with most of the artisans. This artisan I just showed you, we are the only people at this point. She had been working with another group, but then once she can't work at the group anymore, we kind of took her on as one of our employees. So, and what's kind of great too is the US dollar goes very far other places. So, for us to buy, if I sell 10 necklaces of hers, she's good to go, you know? So, yeah. Yeah. And
And
then let me pull it up. I pulled up a number because I just wanted to see, I hadn't looked, but I wanted to see how much money have you all raised in living wage salaries for people in the past 5 years? And so I looked, and it's just under $300,000. And I was
oh,
like, whoa, that's a lot. I mean, we're just a teeny little nonprofit with, you know, lots of loyal followers, but I was blown away when I looked at that number, just how much good we're doing. And that in other countries goes just so far for so many people. So,
that's very impressive. And it's 100% the proceeds go
yeah,
to
all the profits go to the artisans. We have a few costs. Our website costs some money, not a lot. And, we have to make copies sometimes. But we're actually working on, if any of you listeners know of people, we're working on getting um, commercial, like business donors who need to give anyway for their, Wells Fargo needs to give money. That's what they do. Or different people, Target gives money to people because that's what they do. And so we're looking to get donors and investors who will pay all the admin costs so that we don't need to have any of that even, we don't have to cover any of that from the sales. So, but it's pretty low because we don't have a storefront. It's online. We do pop-up shops instead of a storefront. So our overhead is very low. And as you can you see where I am right now? This is my room. Here's the Do Good Shop stuff. Here's where I sleep. I'm sitting at my desk. It's a very mom and pop, all hands on deck kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, for people who are listening and can't see the banner, would you, we still got solid 20 more minutes. I luckily get to ask you more questions, but would you say now that the website address and your email address now, and we'll say it again at the end?
Yes, I will. So the website address is www.dogoodshop.org. And if you go there, there's lots of fun things to see. And then this is a good time to tell you also, if you put in the code now, it's your voice, you will get a free gift with your order. I thought that would be a fun little thing to do tonight. So if you put that in, you don't need to put the apostrophe, just put in it's your voice when you make a purchase, and then I will pop in a free gift with your order to thank you for listening. Okay, and my email is info@dogoodshop.org.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And I think it would be fun also to describe, like, again, for anyone who's listening on the radio, behind you, there are lots of plastic tubs.
It's almost like a split screen. Yeah, go ahead.
So it looks like storage of a lot of different containers. And is that the completed products that are behind you?
Yes. So we have a shelf like this. It's like the industrial Costco shelves, and we put all these clear containers so we can see what's in there. And I have it organized, even though I'm not type A. And then there's one in my bedroom and one in the garage. And depending on what items, we keep them climate controlled in here. And then, I have my in-home office in my room. and the bedspread on my bed is from Do Good Shop, and the little pillow, I love it. So many things in our house. People all the time are like, is this Do Good Shop? Is this Do Good Shop? So it's been really fun because I do like to shop actually. And so now it feels like guilt-free shopping. Yes.
Wow. Oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm trying to decide which direction to go into, but I will mention right now, thank you, Roxy. She put a banner saying use coupon code It's Your Voice for a free gift to remind people when you go to the Do Good Shop website and order. So you mentioned 40 countries. I also really appreciate, and I don't want to run past the fact that you said it's here too for like us to remember exploitation happens everywhere, and we are not exempt.
So if you go to picture 9 and then 10, these are a couple of our US artisans. And this is one of my friends. I've known her for many years, and she makes art out of upcycled bike chain. And so we don't have the flamingo anymore that's pictured here, but we do have these star keychains and some bracelets, and it's amazing. She's very talented, and I won't go into her whole story, but it is really hard starting from age 3 or sooner.
Gosh.
Very, very hard, and just more things than you can imagine. And so working with her has been great because it's not just what she is selling through Do Good Shop and getting extra money to help her keep an apartment instead of being not housed. But I have been able to have a relationship with her and connect with her. We're going in January for her birthday to Southern California on a little trip. So it's been really fulfilling to be able to be connected in a more kind of week-to-week way instead of just visiting once in a while. So that's one of our artisans in nearby. And then the next picture is another one of those are Ethiopia, the other direction. Those people are great too, though. So in Ethiopia, I have to tell you while we're here. So they make leather goods, amazing leather goods. And Eden, who is the director of this social enterprise, set out to hire people who needed a break, needed to get out of exploitation and needed to learn a skill and have a place to work and stop the cycle. And so
Mm.
she had like a regular job with a regular company, and she quit it so she could go start this social enterprise in Ethiopia, in the capital city, her hometown. And, she could have stayed in the regular business world making money and doing her thing, but she wanted to give this skill to people who were really coming out of a bad situation. And that's what she's doing. And we've partnered with her. She opened just a year before us. And we've partnered with her, and we sell lots of her leather goods on the website. And I love them. And she is fabulous. And I love her heart that she just went for it. And it's working.
Is she in the photograph, or she was?
She is right in the middle.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic story. Another woman with conviction.
Yes. And then these women are in Uganda, and I don't know how much you know about Uganda, but they, like, if your husband cheats on you and leaves, then you're the one who's outcast, not him. So you then are left. He leaves you for someone else, and you and your kids are on your own and kind of shunned. So this group of women there's actually a church that works with them, and they most of the women already have the skill, but they come together in community and talk and support one another and make the baskets and beaded jewelry, and their kids can come and like hang out. And there's actually these mango trees that are right around on the other side of where they are. And so
Mm.
it's really a cool situation. And I think, again, with the actual making of the craft isn't as important as the time that they have to connect together and make a new way forward. But of course, they need money to do that as well and have a place to live, especially when their livelihood has left for another family. So we are happy to partner with them as well. Oh, okay. And there on the left, that's my youngest son. And he is with me at an artisan, again, nearby within 10 miles at an artisan's house. And she was showing him how to make the body butters and the candles and that kind of thing. So he came along, and yeah. So there's people all over, who have had really, really awful things happen to them. And it's a privilege for all of us to be able to be part of their story by doing something we already enjoy or already have to do, which is buying things. So
That's so wonderful that you get to know people, and you're not just running a system or checking books and sending things out and making
mhm,
sure orders are filled. You're really getting to know people. And yeah, what an honor that is to be a part of people's transition into healing. And it does take time and community. And it
yeah.
sounds like the Do Good Shop does so much more than just provide beautiful products we could buy that help lift people out of exploitation.
Mhm.
And you think
Yeah, and I
about,
think yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just curious about, I mean, just like the 40 different countries, that's just another way to connect all, you know, the oneness of humanity and all
Mhm.
human beings just have this network of, I mean, it's beyond words for me to say how powerful that is to have a connection to 40 different groups of individual and people, at least in 40 different
Right,
countries. That's
right.
just an amazing, expansive network of support.
Mhm. Yeah, well, and I think people who purchase from Do Good Shop can kind of be as involved or as not involved as they want. Just by purchasing, you're involved, just by the sole transaction of purchasing something from Do Good Shop, you are involved in their story by giving them a hand up out of exploitation and oppression and bringing justice. And also, you can get to know them. Like on the website, even there's pictures and stories, and I have a bunch of unedited video. I'm actually looking for someone who can do that too. One of my daughter's elementary school friends is going to school for video right now, so she's going to help me a little bit. But like we have ways to connect, and so you can actually get more involved in your items and their story and where they came from and who made them. And I do think there's something so beautiful about that. Back to what we were talking about at the very beginning when you read the excerpt, I often wonder if we had come to this country and said, teach us your ways. I mean, imagine the difference. Imagine the community and the learning and and I think that is the same. It's similar here, where if we enter into someone's story and hear how things really are for them as a refugee, as someone who's been unhoused, as someone who's been trafficked, it just expands our understanding of the world and of people and our compassion for others, and just even here, I find myself relating a little bit differently, even just with people who are in my peer group, just because of the fact that there's always something behind the scenes, that we don't know, which is very true for the artisans we work with, but even for all of us.
And it's so powerful for people to be able to tell their truth. It's so painful to like face it and look at it and grieve through it and heal, and to have the courage to say, hey, can I be an artisan, so to
Right.
speak?
And that's actually been interesting too. My most recent artisan, she is a friend. There's a group here called YOLO People Power that works with kind of our systems of in the county and things like that. And someone who works with them knows this other woman and connected us, and we all had tea together. And it was so interesting because in one way our lives are very, very different. And then also here we are with her kids and my kids, and coming together as moms, talking about how hard things are with our teenagers or with the youngest or whatever. And so we have all these common things, and then we also have this very different story. And I really felt like I needed to honor and ask, would you even like to be an artisan with Do Good Shop? Because this is how I talk about it. I say all these people have been exploited, they've had some kind of injustice impression. I mean, it's a heavy title to have, I think. And so I just felt like I need to know if that's even okay with you. And she was very gracious and wanted to come on board, and said, yeah, this is my story, So.
Wow, what a beautiful entry point to recognize that and ask respectfully, and to have the choice to answer whether or not that will work for you as an artisan.
Yeah.
I think you have one photo left, and we have about 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's just my little yay, Do Good Shop. Here's another little way of connecting. My husband's a teacher. This is a student, one of his students, and the person taking the photograph is someone who did their senior project with Do Good Shop. So she was very interested in trafficking and kind of anti-trafficking movements and wanted to learn. And so she came on and did a internship with us, and did the purse that the student's holding is from Eden, the one in Ethiopia that I showed you, who quit her job to start the social enterprise. So this is just like one of our little business cards that we pop in with the items, and we have other ones as well, but just so people know that when they get a gift, what it is, what's going on. But again, with the teenagers, like I can't believe, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the young, like the 20 somethings and the teenagers, they are all about this. I mean, my nieces and nephews and other people in high school and colleges, they are like, where do I sign up? I want to buy from this. They're pretty social justice minded, and it's pretty fabulous.
They are too, and they're also connecting it to it helping prevent more climate disasters and climate change
Right.
from at least from some of the reused materials and
Oh,
just not shopping new.
yes. Okay, that's
Wh-
another thing that's amazing. When you work with people who are, below the poverty line, they're not wasting anything. We have
Mhm.
all these denim items. They're like old jeans that are ripped. They're cutting them up, sewing them into something else. In Haiti, they make these we have metal art from Haiti, and it's all upcycled oil drums, which I feel like in America, we'd be like, where do we throw that away? No, they clean them within an inch of the life of the metal and then repurpose it into something else. Amazing. Like, I mean, yeah, so many boxes are ticked with the way people are doing things, the artisans we're working with. It's so great.
Repurposing no waste. And I love a comment I saw on the banner by Rachel that said she had already looked at your website and said it
Oh,
has so many categories to choose from, and she's definitely you will receive her business.
aw, thanks, Rachel.
And I sent a message out to a bunch of friends last night, and they're on board. So
So great.
what a joy! Like really giving like the true joy of gift giving is giving.
Right. Well, and I
And
always joke actually that if I give someone something from Do Good Shop and they don't like it, like, so what? I mean, give
yeah,
it to Goodwill. It still gave someone a new lease on life and a hand up and food for their children. And, so if you don't
definitely
like it, it already did good. And then if
great.
I bought something at some other store and you don't like it, then, not so great. So that's how I always feel like whatever I get you from here, if you don't like it, it already
It's
did its job.
totally a win. It's
Yeah.
totally the way to go and move forward. Well, we are out of time. I don't know if you have a really quick closing statement before I wrap up.
Just thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to listen. For if you go to the website and check it out, this is like it's a labor of love, but it brings so much joy to me and all the people that I've talked to who are involved who shop. And so I would encourage you to join us. We're like a little family, and we'd love to have you join the Do Good Shop family.
I personally can't wait. And I want and thank you so much, Jenny, for being here today.
Thank
I also
you.
want to thank Chris Newell for writing this beautiful book and the illustrator, Winona Nelson, and for Esther Ann, who is also a radio show host. Tune in tomorrow. They're doing a Thanksgiving show from an Indigenous perspective and on WERU at 4 p.m. Eastern. The call letters are WERU, 4 p.m. Eastern from the Dawnland. The show is called Dawnland Signals. And thank you, Roxy, our engineer, and Dean, our producer, and to all the listeners and viewers. I am so grateful, and I hope everyone has safe and healthy and enjoyable holidays.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate